Sasursky. I'm a teacher. I'm 30 years old. I'm a teacher at East Juniata High School. I was married to Dara Shelley, and in 2020, just before COVID hit, the East Coast at least, we had our daughter, June.
This is the first day of my life.
So we met in junior high, actually. She grew up in Thompsontown, and I grew up in McAllisterville. I was a year ahead of her. We were our age difference of 5 months. And we met in chorus, actually. We had junior high chorus, 7th period, every other day or something like that. She always told me I was making it up. But I remember the first time I saw her. Like I remember seeing her and first of all thinking she must be way older than us. She just had an adult face. She had, we were junior high kids. She had like chubby cheeks, but she just had a wisdom in her eye that I never shut up about, much to her chagrin. But yeah, she didn't really want anything to do with me at that point either. So I introduced myself, and she just wanted to be friends for a very long time, and I understood that. Again, I just don't know how much the story has changed in my head since the fire, but I know that there would have been a time where she would have said, that I was just I was girl crazy, and I wanted to, date all these girls or whatever in junior high, We started dating at the end of my junior year of high school. We had been, friendly, not friends. She wasn't my, the deepest of confidants or anything like that I had at that point in my life, especially because, I liked her a lot. But it was during track season of my junior year. I was injured, and she was performing amazingly. I didn't really have any business being on the team, probably, to begin with. That's when we started dating. We had our first kiss on May 3rd of 2008, and then we became official on May 5th. So our dating anniversary was Cinco de Mayo. As much as I like to make fun of some of my students' date ideas, our first date was not the most classically romantic thing to have ever occurred, but it was just to her house, actually. I mean, I didn't have my driver's license yet, and again, our maturity levels, even though she was younger than me, she was more mature than I was. I would have told you until the day she died, too. I don't 100% know why she was with me. I knew she loved me. I never doubted that. I was the wise fool in college. Like, I got very into what I was studying. My field of study was literature, and we always made fun of ourselves too as literature majors. Like, what are you gonna go explicate poems for the President of the United States someday? No. So when Darius got to college, then she just really, again, I thought she was so mature when we were in high school as well. But when we got to college, she started taking every internship she could get, even knowing that, she would interview for a job at like an adoption agency, and at the end they would be like, sorry to tell you this, but this is an unpaid internship. They would say that at the end, conveniently. And that always seemed dishonest to me, but she just believed in this mission over money thing, and she also recognized it was a chance for her to learn. She wanted to help, and she wanted to learn, and so for her, not getting paid wasn't a big deal. She settled at Huntingdon County Children and Youth at first, which was a pretty major commute from where we lived at the time. It was like an hour and 20 minutes. So then when she got the offer to be at Mifflin County, that's where she went, and that's where she worked until she died. We were married in 2015, in September of 2015, and we were engaged in April of 2014. But she wanted to have this big wedding. She wanted every person who loved us, or any person who she loved, or any person who was even tangentially connected to us, I think, to be at this wedding. She wanted this to be, a major public celebration of our love. So we looked at several houses, and there were some that we had made offers on that we lost by a hair, or lost because of our financing choice to go FHA. But eventually we found one that was, I think, a perfect compromise. She wanted to be out of town, I wanted to be in town. We kind of settled at the outskirts of town. I remember coming home on a Friday evening from work. It had not been a good week, and I was exhausted, and she came home and she was exhausted, and we had done EPTs early pregnancy test. I remember I was just sitting in the living room, and we were gonna go out to dinner that night. Nowhere fancy, just like we gotta feed ourselves. I don't feel like cooking, so let's just go somewhere. And she's like, well, let me take this test before we go. And I'm like, okay. So she goes to the bathroom, comes back, and I forget how long you have to wait, 10 minutes or something like that. And she comes out, and I just remember I was just holding her on the couch, and we were just talking and, you know, kind of dozing off. And she was like, well, I'll go read that test and then we'll get ready and go. And she walked into the bathroom, and I don't even remember what she said. I just remember, you know, it wasn't, she didn't really curse. That was not really her thing. She had wanted to be a mom. I had always wanted to be a dad, but I wanted to be a dad for, you know, eventually good reasons, and by then good reasons, but I'd always wanted to be a dad when I was younger too, for like, oh, I can't wait to teach my kid how to play baseball, or I can't, you know, there were things like that. She got pregnant in April of 2019. I said after June was born that watching the way they interacted with each other was like seeing, I felt like a third wheel, and I didn't mind. I didn't care, because I was just so happy that these two people who I love so much just seemed to get each other. I loved just being, you know, she was born in February, so we had a gardening season with her when she was very young, and it was even oftentimes just her in the stroller with an umbrella over her, and one of us would be tending directly to her while one of us was working in the garden. Darius was all about being in her space, in her world, sharing that with her. So May 2nd, 2021, for a lot of this last year, I've thought of as, you know, the worst day of my life. We were out of the house from 10 a.m. I think to like 7 p.m. No, 6:30 p.m. probably, closer. And we had a finished basement. We spent the evening in the basement because it had been so warm. It was like really hot upstairs because we had the windows closed all day. Didn't think it was going to be that warm. So I got up to go get a book to read to her. And as I sat back down with her to read, I heard Darius scream. And she said, you know, I go by Drew. That's what everyone calls me. She yelled Andrew, which, you know, normally was reserved for when I was in trouble. And I ran upstairs quick, and when I did, the dogs followed me upstairs. The hallway was engulfed in flames. And I yelled to her, stay where you're at. I'm going to go get June out and I'll be right back. And I ran back downstairs and I grabbed June. And I even remember when I got out the basement door, we had a walkout basement. As I got out the basement door, I held her head against my chest to scream, and I covered her ear because I did, like, it's just so weird that I don't know why that detail sticks with me. So when I got out the basement, I screamed, help, somebody help me. And I could see two of my neighbors were already coming across the lawn. I ran to them and gave them June. I don't know what I said. I indicated that I was going back into the house to get Darius. I ran back in the basement and one of my dogs followed me. When I got back up to the kitchen, it was, all the walls were on fire. I knew I couldn't walk back the hallway to get to Darius. So I figured the only way to get to her would be to go through our dining room wall. It's weird how black that smoke is, especially when it has no place to go. I just thought, we got her out, she's gonna be okay. I don't know how she got out. I don't think I pulled her out. I think she walked out. And I looked up and neighbors were streaming down off the hill through each other's yards. Someone pulled up on the street in a silver van and they jumped out, and my neighbor who lived far away, who got down to us really fast, was like, help me carry her further from the house. And we picked her up and carried her across the road, and this person in the van jumped out with a blanket and threw it around her. The neighbor who had taken June from us brought her close. When they carried her away, and again, she was fully conscious this entire time, we told each other we loved each other. We were transported about 10 minutes away, where we were life flighted then, to Lehigh Valley burn unit. This person had been alive. Her case was unprecedented. She survived for 5 months after a 90% third degree burn, a 90% full thickness burn. It is unheard of. Any person that I have spoken to in that unit would tell me she's so strong because blah blah blah, but that ellipsis was no one has ever done it before. No one has ever survived this long after this much of an injury, ever. She was no longer comatose, and she would talk to us. And we talked, and I said, do you know what we're doing? And she said, yes. I said, are you ready? And she said, yes. I said, do you hate me? And she said, no, I love you. Darius died on September 25th, 2021. 1 day short of our wedding anniversary. So, yeah, life today is very different. Not anything that a little over a year ago I would have ever expected. We moved to Lewistown, June and I did, and we bought a new house, and thanks to friends and family, I mean, it's slowly becoming our home. June is very strong-willed like her mom, and smiles every day and laughs every day. I am now back to work. June is back with her sitters. Darius' legacy is her daughter. She had more integrity than anyone else I've ever met. If there's a reward after this, I know that she has it. I don't ever want Darius to be forgotten by anyone.